One, two, three. Boomer.
Welcome back to the Finding Moments podcast. My name is Wong Lam, and today's very special guest is our great friend, Jeremy Adams. Jeremy, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Hey, it's great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, dude, first of all, man, thank you so much for your service to our great country, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We connected actually recently, a few weeks ago on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting because I started listening to your podcast while I was running, doing my exercise. And it was all the stuff people you were talking to were very interesting. So, I got to reach out a little bit more because it's a little bit easier for me to reach out through social media because I'm kind of not a very people person. I don't have a lot of friends or anything like that. So it makes it easier for me to meet people like that. So, but I'm glad it did. And y'all have your fun stuff now where you're doing your workouts and stuff like that, especially during this trying time that everybody's kind of in lockdown or being grounded for a month. So,
Yeah. How are you dealing with the lockdown, the COVID-19, and how's your mentality? What is it like?
it's weird because the first week, my routine was really messed up because I'm a very routine person because I'll go to the gym, I do this, and this. So that threw me off. I was a little upset about that. But then the more we got into it, it kind of reminds me of a deployment. Because during deployment, granted, you're out doing your job and you're outside the wire, but you really can't go and do anything else. You can't go down the street to the movie theater, or you can't go down the street to the mall, or can't go to the grocery store. So that's the mentality I use. I really worry about my wife and my children because they don't get to go anywhere. My
Mhm.
wife got out yesterday to run to Target, and she didn't even go in. She just went in, picked up the stuff through the drive-through thing, and then left. So she's very routine also. So that really, makes her depressed. But me, I kind of take it just day by day. So, but I always tell her it's real easy for us and the kids to do things because we were always, ever since I got wounded in Afghanistan, we've always been together.
Yeah.
The first 6 months, we lived in a hotel room, and granted, the kids were only 3 and 4 at the time, so we all, and me in a wheelchair, and it wasn't even a suite in the hotel room. It was just a regular 2 beds, sofa bed, and then a little small bathroom, and me in a wheelchair. So we take it in stride,
Yeah.
Granted, luckily we live in a neighborhood where you can still get out and exercise, and then we have a swimming pool so the kids can actually get out and go swimming and stuff like that. So, it just takes getting used to. So,
Yeah. You talked about day by day. So today, how are you doing?
well, I'm doing okay. I went out and I ran this morning, and then I'll do whatever I need to do around here. The kids are still sleeping, but just gotta try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
But I always tell my wife, I sleep later now than I would ever before because normally 6:37 I'm out of bed. Now it's I actually have to set alarm at 7 something to get up before 8 o'clock. And I go to bed about the same time. I guess it's just because there's no point, you wake up and you can't really go do anything. You can do what you need to do around the house, but that only takes, an hour and a half, 2 hours. It just depends. And you can't really go and do anything. And I'd my wife, the first week we were there, I was going to the store every day, loading up, getting this, getting that. And now because we didn't have any cases in where we live at, now people getting infected. I'm a little bit more wary about going out. And sometimes it doesn't bother me because, like I said, I've been in Afghanistan. I'm sure there was shit floating around over there that probably can make you sick. But this stuff, I worry about getting my children and my wife sick. So you bring something home with you, But luckily, when I go and I come, I clean myself with Clorox wipes when I get back in my truck. But as soon as I get home from being out, to the store, I take all my clothes off, throw them in the wash machine, and then wash my hands and whatever else I need to wash, and then change and go about my business. So
Yeah. No, that's interesting. So it sounds like you're pretty you're taking a lot of precautions, pretty regimented, pretty for lack of better terms, but militaristic as far as your structured your order to hey, this is what I've got to do to protect myself and my family.
Yeah, uh, they're the number one. When I got out of the army, like I had to. It was an adjustment, but I looked at it like my job now is just to take care of my wife and kids. Same way when I was in the army, like when I was a squad leader, so my job was to take care of my squad when we were deployed. Now I just kind of rolled that over to taking care of them, and it's sometimes it's a little difficult because, like in my mindset, like if somebody should hurt my kids or my wife, like I don't know how I would physically react. Like I could end up hurting somebody because, like, I'll go into army, Jeremy, and I don't know what I'm. So thankfully, they ain't nothing bad ever happened or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I just try to, they're my number one priority. They're pretty much all I got. I mean, my dad lives 8 hours away, so but what I have here is my family. So I mean, I'm gonna take care of them, make sure they're good to go. Nobody gets sick or anything like that. So
Right. Yeah, you're talking about army, Jeremy. If you don't mind, let's just jump into this. Your defining moment, what led up to it, and your journey.
well, I joined like I was older. I was 29 when I was joined. I was working a dead end job as a bail bondsman, and I was sitting there one day, and it's like, so if I worked the same job for 10 years, I'm not going to be making any more money. I'm not going to be promoted any higher. Like, why are you doing it? So I was like, well, let me go talk to the recruiter. So I went, talked to the Army recruiter. It's like, hey, I want to join up. Took a few months because I had to get a waiver from a colonel because years ago, or when I was in my 20s, I got 2 DWI. So they had to sign off to let me join the military. So, but once I got in, like, I was older, so I was more mature than some of these younger kids, but I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be, which is in the Army is an NCO, non-commissioned officer, which is like a sergeant, and on up. That's what I wanted to do. So I busted my butt and I think I made my sergeant in less than 3 years, which is it's pretty fast. So that was, but I'd always tell guys, it's like, you need to work hard because you want that sergeant. Like, well, I don't, but it's a pay raise. And I look at the Army, it was a job. I
Mhm.
mean, it was a different job, but you got paid on the 1st and 15th. And the higher you went, the more money you got paid. So, and then, I deployed to Afghanistan. My first tour was in March 2008, March 2009. Me and Rosie wasn't even married yet. We didn't even know each other. We met or started talking again by October of my first deployment. And it's a funny story because we met and we started talking in October through MySpace and Yahoo Messenger. So we talked, and then we kind of stopped talking around December, and then when I got back to the States in March, like we started kind of talking, and I went from Fort Campbell down to Texas, and I told her, well, I'm gonna come see you when I get down there. And we had settled like I was gonna come like on a Saturday or something. So I just said, well, I ain't got nothing that's going on. I'm off for 30 days, so let me take off now. So I called her. It's like, hey, I'm on my way to see you. So I start taking off, driving down there. I get on the south side of Houston, and she calls. She's like, you don't have to come. Just turn and go back. I'm like, no, I'm already halfway there. So, we get there, we partied for like 3 or 4 days. And then one day sitting on the couch, we were watching Batman. And I was like, hey, you want to get married? She said yes. And then, the rest is history. 11 years later, here we are. So,
Wow.
but she's, and then she got a year in Fort Campbell before we started getting ready to go back down to Afghanistan. So that was an interesting time for her because she was still just brand new as a military wife. And then like she gets, I deploy, and then, it's tough on them because when guys get killed overseas, like commo goes black, like you can't call nobody till the family is notified. And then the FRG calls and the wives and like, wait, somebody was wounded or injured or killed, but we don't know who it is yet, but we don't know if it's your soldier. So it was very trying for her. So she finally just told him to stop calling. If it ain't him, don't call. So when I got wounded, like she knew something was wrong because I was like regimentally, like I would, before I'd go to bed at night, I'd text her or call her, tell her good night. And she never heard from me. And then, time went by. And finally after everything happened and I got medevac to the first field hospital, like I got a chance to call her. And it's funny because she just changed her phone number. So I had to I couldn't remember what her number was. And I had to go through all the numbers. And finally I did. And one of the nurses allowed me to call her. So I called her and it's like, hey, I got hurt. I'm going to be coming home. So.
Wow. You talk about medevac. What exactly happened? How did you get medevac?
What happened was we got a call. We were the QRF recovery asset. So what we would do, our 4 gun trucks would escort we'd escort EOD or we'd escort a wrecker to go pick up somebody. Either A was blown up or something broke down. So what happened was a National Guard unit was doing some work out with the locals trying to get stuff set up, and they got stuck on the side of a mountain. So they called us to come save them. So we take off, we're driving, and there was no, over there, there's roads, but then there's some places like the map doesn't show where the road is. So we saw them and we knew where they were at. So we took off and we made this left-hand turn. And it comes up and dead ends in a village. Well, on the map, you can't tell because it doesn't say so-and-so village is here. So what happened, we turned around, got flipped around, started going back down the road. And like, we went more than, I guess, a mile away, and my LT goes through, and then here comes my truck. Boom. It's the loudest noise I ever heard, and then everything went black. And like, after, next thing I remember, somebody, I think my LT was opening up the door, and like I was in like the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life, and I didn't know what was wrong. So then what I can remember, he pulls me out of the truck, lays me on the ground, and I got aggravated because I'm just laying there, and like with your gear on, you got a big front plate on, you got a back plate on. So when you got the back plate on, like it lifts you up off the ground, so your head's not even touching the ground, you're just kind of dangling there. So I told him, like, hey, sit me up against the fucking tire, because if they start shooting, I don't want to be laying here and I can't go anywhere. So finally, they get the helicopters called in to come pick us up, and then they get, they had to get assets, or like the Air Force sends in, we call them fast movers, for jets in to provide us coverage, because over there sometimes they'll like blow you up and then they'll like to shoot at you later. So finally, they didn't do any of that stuff, and we finally got me loaded onto the helicopter, me, my driver, and then my gunner, and then my interpreter, which he was an idiot, and he got knocked cuckoo, but he didn't wear his helmet. I kept telling him, hey, you need to put your fucking helmet on. And he's like, oh, and it's like, you need to. And he figured out why that day. But finally, we got to the medevaced us to the little field hospital. And then that's when they started doing like x-rays and doing all this stuff to make sure I was good. And that's when the initial got back to my unit, like, hey, with his injuries, he'll never walk again, or he'll lose his feet. And so then once I got through with there, they sent me to Bagram Airfield, which is the main air terminal that everybody flies in and out of Afghanistan in the U.S. from Bagram. So we're at the Bagram Hospital, and they had to go in and do surgery. They had to put 3 steel rods in my left heel because all the bones were just floating all over the place. So they had to put them in and sell them in. So I got that done. I got my Purple Heart there, and like the whole time, my best friend, was coming back from leave from the States, and I knew he would be in about that time. So I kept asking, like, hey, stay here. Finally, I got to see him, and he was there when I got my Purple Heart, and he tells the story like I was still in La La Land. Like the sergeant major walks in, he's got glasses on, and I'm joking with him. So he got glasses on inside, sergeant major. And he said, like, they were the whole time they were doing this talk about the you give him the Purple Heart. Like, I'm sitting there just staring at it like I was stoned out of my mind. And then, once they start sending you back to the States, and then you fly you to Germany. You stay in Germany for about a day. They flew me from Germany to Andrews Air Force Base, and they have like a little bitty hospital right there on the airfield. So they'll put you in there for, it seemed like a day. I don't know how long it was. And then I caught that flight from Andrews into St. Louis. And in St. Louis, they put us on, we went from a C-5 to a C-130. Because a C-130 is like a prop, and it shakes like bad when it takes off. And you're in a gurney, and you really can't do anything because I couldn't walk or anything. So they start shaking. I'm like, oh God, please don't let me fall out this fucking out of my gurney. So finally I get to, San Antonio, and then they, get me to the hospital, wheel me in, and my dad's already there. Like, he drove 5 or 6 hours. He beat Rosie and the kids there to the room. And finally we all get together, and then, they started the surgeries. I got there February 22nd, I think. And I started getting my first surgery in March 3rd or something like that. I can't remember the exact date. So, and then when we got there, they started getting reports back to my unit, like, they told us, like, he's got maybe a 50% chance of ever walking or running. So, and then they were like, well, we can amputate. But there was a doctor there, ortho doctor, he was Dr. Fickey. Remind me of Tom Selleck, except he had a lot more gray hair and that big old gray mustache. He's like, no, we can save it. So he went in and, hooked me all up, and they sent me, stayed in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks. Had to have, on the left foot, they had one surgery, the right foot had one surgery, and then they had to go back in a few days later. And one of the screws was, how they had screwed it in was going to end up hitting a bone or something, hitting something. So they had to go back in and open it up and re-screw me back together. So they had once they got done with that, they sent me to sort of rehab in a place called the CFI, which is the Center for Intrepid. And they had come up with this new workout plan for guys who had lower extremity injuries, but they still had they didn't lose any leg or anything like that. And it's called the Return to Run program. So he was working with a guy who had made these braces called an IDEO, and it's I can't even remember the name of it. It's Intrepid something device, exoskeletal orthopedic, some fancy name. So that, going through the rebound, once I started to be able to walk a little bit, I went through that, and that's got me where I could start running again. And it was it was a slow process. It was, I think, February to November 2012, like a year of rehab and stuff. So, and then I got put out, and November 2012, the Army said, "Hey, we're done with you. We're gonna go ahead and medically retire you." And they tried to talk me into staying for a little bit. And they're like, "Hey, you can stay in if you want." I was like, "But can I deploy?" And they're like, "No, you'll be non-deployable." I was like, "No, I'm not going to do it, because I can't train soldiers to deploy. And then when they get ready to get on the bird to leave, I'm going to stay behind on rear D." It's like, that's not who I am. So
Yeah.
I told them to put me out, and they sent me out. And every day, it's a struggle. Every day, I live every day, just one day at a time. But I have a very good support system with my wife and my children. So we've been through some shitty times with me, but dealing with stuff that I didn't know I was dealing with. So I was self-medicating, drinking, doing all that kind of stuff. So you got some points where, like, it was touch and go with the marriage, and she made say, "Hey, it's either the booze or me and the kids." So I was like, "Well, I choose you and the kids." So slowed my drinking way down. And then, I had a couple times I slipped off the wagon. And then I think 2 years ago, in December 2017, like, I had my last drink, got a little buzz, didn't like it. Finally, I said, "I'm not drinking anymore." I ain't even touched it. Like, she'll offer me a drink, and I'll take a sip and say, "Try this." And that's about as good as it gets.
Mm.
So, and then I was still smoking cigarettes. And then one day, I think it'd be 2 years in May, like, I finally was like, "I'm done with this." Like, I'm gonna quit smoking. And I told my doctor, hey, I'm gonna quit smoking. He started prescribing me a little bit of medication. And then once I got through it, I was good. Like, don't really need it anymore. Don't like this. Like, I can smell it on people now and it stinks. And I didn't never know that, because when you're smoking, you don't smell other people smoke. So you didn't know if you stunk or not. But we were in a mall in Minnesota, the first time I ever smelled it. I'm like, this dude was standing next to me looking at something, and I'm like, God, he smells like cigarettes. It smells like a stale cigarette. And I was like, now I'm glad I quit smoking. So, and then, that kind of led me to started running in, I think, November. Just wanted to try something different, started running on the treadmill. And like, when I first started running, I could only run for like 5 minutes, and I was sucking wind. And then doing that, then I started doing some 5Ks and started feeling better. And now, I get out and like I can run 6 miles, but never miss a beat. So, and I'll tell you, be the first time, I hate fucking running, but I do it just because it's healthy for me. And, I've lost a little weight because of it. And I always tell my wife, like, I run to get in shape, because I'll be damned, I'm going to get my butt kicked because I'm out of shape. Somebody might be better than me and kick my butt, but I'm not going to do it because I'm out of shape. So,
Right.
It's just, it's been a long, crazy story, but, we have fun. We deal with the good days. We deal with the bad days, but my kids they're slowly getting used to it. My wife's, kind of gotten adjusted, but it's, you're living with a disabled vet, so it could always be worse.
Yeah, that's true. You're talking about when you guys ran over the IED, you had your lieutenant, yourself, the gunner, and a translator. Did everyone make it out?
Oh yeah. My driver, he made it out. He had a heel fracture, and he was back duty within a year, and he's out of the Army now, and he drives a bus there in the Washington D.C. area.
Mm-hmm.
My gunner, I think he had a real bad concussion. He got out. He lives in El Paso. What does he do? I think he works on cars and does all this other stuff. And then the interpreter, I don't know whatever happened to him. And then my LT was in the truck ahead of us, and he still probably feels bad because he's the first truck to go through and it didn't hit him. But I see him occasionally, or talk to him occasionally on Facebook. He lives in Pennsylvania. He's out, the Army. I don't know what he's doing now, but he's doing something. So that's one of the reasons, like, I keep Facebook, because it's so easier now to communicate with guys I serve with. And, you keep up and you get to see them, occasionally you get to talk, you'll talk to them. And like, there's a few of them that put groups together for us guys to get together. Like one of my buddies, he lives in Virginia, put a group to get guys to start working out and exercise and doing stuff like that, just to get us, you did it for so long while you're in the military, then you get out and nobody ever wants to do it again. So you need to try to stay, it gives you that sense of like I'm still there doing stuff like I did in the Army, but I'm not in the Army. So
yeah,
it's tough once you get out, man. I miss it. I don't miss being at home in the States doing busy work. I miss being deployed, because it's just you and your guys and people, the people you're employed with, and you're stuck on this little bitty ass fob, and you're doing your job.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, it sucks. I mean, there's always a chance you can go out and get killed, but you knew what you signed up for when you signed on the dotted line. But they, like, you knew you signed up, you could be killed, but then nobody ever talked to you about dealing with the mental side of it after you getting wounded or seeing the stuff that we saw. Nobody that wouldn't talk to you about by the recruiter. So, that's something new for us. But you got to take it day by day and kind of go with the punches. I have good days, I have bad days, but I kind of know what my triggers are, so I kind of stay away from certain situations or stuff like that. So, and that's the best advice I ever got, and I got it from a Vietnam vet. He's like, once you learn what kind of triggers you with PTSD, no matter what medication you take, you still need to, you can kind of avoid those. So, I avoid it. I mean, there's not a lot of firefights going on out here, people getting blowed up or anything like that. So that stuff I'm okay with.
Yeah. You talked about triggers, and when I think about that, it's one of those things where you definitely have to have a next level of mental toughness to understand your triggers and to deal with them, potentially, obviously control it. So when you get to that point when there's a trigger approaching or you're thinking about, what do you do mentally, or how do you deal with that?
I just kind of, in my mind, I go somewhere that, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like I can go in my mind to, like, hey, it's not what it was. You're not in Afghanistan. Like you can teach yourself. And I put a lot of my stuff, my faith in the Lord gets me through a lot. Like I might not be the most church going guy, but I do believe what I believe. I believe I'm still here because of him. So that gets me through a lot of the mental stuff. Like, hey, like I'll say a quick prayer in my mind if something bad's, and then I feel better.
Yeah.
So the other day I left to go because I had to go to the grocery store, and I was real nervous because of the Corona stuff. And I think I said the Lord's Prayer like 2 or 3 times before I ever got to the grocery store. But that's what gets me through a lot of the stuff. It's just my faith in Him. I like, I'm still here for a reason. Like He ain't done with me yet. So if He was, He had several times He could have, He could have taken me away. So that's just, But then there's a lot of mental stuff. Like I could be out running or riding in the truck or being out in the yard just doing something. And like I'll see like a cloud formation or see something. And in my mind, I can go back to seeing that in Afghanistan. And it's I don't know if it's a flashback. It's just, you can remember seeing stuff like that when you were in downrange. Like I think my favorite when I was a gunner, because I was out in the open air, I saw smelled everything, saw everything. So that's what I can go back to in certain things. So, but like I hear fireworks, like if I don't know they're coming and a loud noise, I'll jump. But if I know it's about to happen, then I'm good. Cause I'm like, hey, it's fixing to happen. This is fixing to make a loud noise. So it's good. And so I don't get all, weirded out or end up shivering in a corner or stuff like that. But I mean, there's guys out there that they do that, and you just you want to be there with them. You want to say, hey, it's okay. You're not gonna. It's not what you think it is. So, and then we, like I said, we lose a lot of guys. We lose like a lot. Like I know several of my buddies who just mentally couldn't deal with it, and they took their own lives. And it's sad because we tell them every time, like, all you can do is pick up the phone and call. Like, you have our numbers, or here's my number, just call. Like, I don't care what time of the day it is. I never cut my ringer off, like, because somebody might call. And I had a buddy of mine I served with my first tour. He called me one night, and he just to talk. And he told me when it's done, he's like, hey man, I really needed that. I'm like, hey, that's what I'm here for. Anytime you want to pick up the phone. And that's kind of how we deal with it. So, because we all know these guys. And now, I lost my best friend, from a drug overdose, and that's a tough one to deal with, because we lost touch. And then, you get a call the next one day and it's like, hey, he passed away. And you start second guessing, like, maybe if I could have got in touch with him before that, like I could got him down here and, got him off the drugs he was doing after he got out of rehab. But just wasn't in Lord's plan. So
right.
you got to take that as in stride. But,
Yeah, it's just listening to you speak to this is to me it's impressive, because obviously I've never been through that, and it gives us that have never served a very amazing perspective on what you and your team members and everyone who has served, currently serving, go through on a day-to-day basis. And I noticed that you have the Oklahoma Nike T-shirt on, and the Sooner Nation is very strong, and it's very, very supportive. And I'm so glad you're on Twitter, and I'm so glad we met on Twitter, because now the interaction, seeing you, hearing your voice, puts me just like, I feel like I'm super connected to you, man. And I appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all. I don't have, like I said, I don't have a lot of friends because I'm very like choosy. I'm not real big on meeting a bunch of new people, but like I'm working on getting better at it. So coming outside of my shell, because once I get out of my shell, I'm good. But it takes me, like my kids, the story, my kids' godparents, like when we lived in Mission, like it took me almost 6 months before I even went over to their house or got out and meet people, because I was still just fresh. I was only out of the Army for not even a year yet. So I'm still getting used to it. So now, I'm a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I still, I'm not going to run out and want to hang out and do a bunch of stuff with a bunch of people, but that's just who I am. But I've always kind of been like that. Like I have friends, but I've always kind of been by myself. So.
Yeah. And you mentioned you've never been to an OU football game. Is that correct?
The closest I've ever been was when I lived in Dallas during OU Texas weekend. I never even went to the games. It's just, living, money situation, trying to get here, trying to get, just wasn't ever in the cards. So, you got to do what you got to do. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if OU does play football this fall, that we will be able to get you, and you said your son.
Oh yeah.
Wants to come up and put you up in a hotel, take you to a game, and see a actual OU football game in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to happen. If they play, we're going to find some people. We're going to make this happen for you.
Good deal. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, man. So, you talk about your support network. You've got your kids, you got your wife, you got some friends. Do you go and see a therapist, or?
Yeah, I have a therapist I see every 2 weeks. And then I see my psychiatrist every couple of months.
Yeah.
It just depends. So I talked to my therapist this week. I think Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Just because we have to do it over the video because of this thing. So
yeah,
it helps. It just gives me somebody else to go out and just talk to about my issues. Like I'm not going to go talk to my dad about my issues. Occasionally, if I need advice about kids and being a parent, I'll call him. But other than that, I'm not a very, go out and talk to other people about issues, or even, if I need marital advice, like I'll talk to my therapist. I won't go and talk to another man because no, it's just, they can't even get their lives in order with their marriage. I'm not definitely going to, and I'm a very private person when it comes to certain things like that. So,
yeah.
But like my support system, like is the woman in the room watching TV. Like she's my biggest supporter, and she can be my biggest critic, but she can be a hard ass, but
yeah.
She got me at the right time because it was a seamless transition because I was in the Army. Somebody would pause me, tell me what to do. We need to do this, do that to write in here. But she does it. And because she has my best interest in heart, though. And there's some pushback from me because that's just who I am. I don't like being told what to do. And even in the military, if I didn't think something's right, I have a little pushback. But
yeah,
all in all, a lot of stuff that I've done with the quitting of the drinking and the smoking and stuff like that. It's because of her, because she's, pushed me that way. And something like I do it just that way. There's one less thing you can get on to me about. So, but it's all because she knows what kind of man I can be. So she pushes me to be that person, because it's, she's pretty much all I got, her and the kids and my dad. But
Yeah.
like I don't have a relationship with my mother. So, mother's one of those. I've always been a screw up. So my wife does it to show him like, hey, this is what he's accomplished. He's not what he used to be. I've kind of grown up a little bit. So, and it took me a while, but I tell her all the time, like, I try to think what it would be like if we weren't married, and I wouldn't probably accomplish half the things that I did, because I was always about it was just about me. And she's made me want to be a better man. And her opinion of me is probably the biggest thing that matters to me in this world. And I always want her to be proud of me. And that's why I get out and I run, and like, I went on the diet to lose weight, because I want her to, say, hey, he's not as bad as everybody he used to be. Because I used to be pretty rough, but she's molded me into being something that, people could say, hey, that, he's a pretty good guy. So.
Man, that's amazing, because you went from, just to go back, as MySpace, Google Chats or Yahoo Chats to meet your wife, and then, or at the time talking to her, drove to Texas or part of Texas to meet her. She calls you halfway. You're like, I don't know. Or she's like, I don't know, but you're like, I'm coming anyways. To meeting her. A few days later, you guys get married, and then you eventually have kids. You served late at, I think, 29 years old. You started.
Yeah.
Then the accident happened, running over an IED, and then you were confined to a wheelchair. And now, living to 2020 right now, present day, you're running. You are seeking help when you need. You are the help when others need. This, I mean, you're talking about God's reasoning. I mean, this might be one of the biggest reasons, man. You're like the common denominator of hope for people.
Yeah. I just try, I try to show, basically try to show my kids that no matter the situation, no matter where you've been at, or if it's, something's tough and you got to come back from, like, don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it. Keep pushing, you can always accomplish what you want to do, or you set out to do, and stuff like that. And like, now they don't understand when it's only 13 and 14, but when they get older, they'll be like, hey, my dad was right. The times get tough, people get tough, and you just got to keep moving along. The Army would say, drink water and drive on. So just, I try to set the example for my family, because they're going to go through tough times one day. And they're going to struggle. And that's, how it is. And I told my wife, like, I don't want them to struggle, but then I do, because I want them to understand, like, they need to figure it out how to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Because, mom and dad rush in every time and save the day, then they're never going to understand when it's mom and dad are not there and they're going through something tough. They won't know how to fight the way out of it. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think about that all the time. And my parents, obviously, they are from Vietnam, and growing up, man, it was learning through cold experience. They could save the day, but they chose not to, because they're like, hey, you got to learn this. And sometimes it's a hard way, and sometimes it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that's helped.
And I take a lot of from, I played football in a little small town in East Texas, and my high school football coach, at the time when he passed away, he was like the fourth winningest coach in Texas high school football history.
Wow.
But he would talk to us on Fridays before the game, like during PE. And the first 10 minutes, he'd go over some X's and O's crap. And then the last 35, 40 minutes, he talked to us about life. You take a lot of that stuff that he taught us, I take in my day-to-day life. When I was in the military, in tough times, I went back to those lessons he taught me, because, he was always like a second dad to all the players. And he was very straightforward. You sucked, he told you sucked. If you were good, he told you were good. But, he was a good guy. And, I think he passed away September 2010. I was on deployment. And I got a message that he had died of a heart attack. So, it'll be 10 years this year.
Wow.
But, I said he touched a lot of people.
Man.
So that's a good thing. And I mean, I grew up in a real small town, and as soon as I was 18, I took off and left and never been back. When I've been back to visit, but I wouldn't change where I was raised. I mean, It made me kind of who I am today. So
I like it. What are a couple questions that you wish people would ask you, but no one ever asked?
I don't know. I have to think about that. That's a hard question. You can ask me anything. I might give you the answer, and I might not. It just depends. Like, mine is like, what would you ask? Like, what drives you to do what you do? Like, especially with the running, because I don't like it, but I do it. Because I was, I just want to, my wife, it always go back to her. She drives me to do pretty much everything because I want to be her, to be proud of me, and her, just to show that I'm the guy you married is not the same guy, that I am today. The guy that was the drinker and, the bad stuff that I've done is not who I am today.
Yeah.
There's the dog right there.
Yeah, I saw the dog. I see the American flag in the window blowing in the wind.
Oh yeah. Like you'll see it every once in a while in the kitchen. You think somebody's looking in the window at you. That's the flag.
That's
but
awesome.
Another one would be just, I don't know. Maybe like, how did you get, I had to think about that one for a second. It's a lot because I think I've struggled a lot throughout my life with, alcohol was a big one. So, and I think like, what made you, like, what would you made you make changes when it comes to the alcohol? That'd be a big one. It's just, I guess I got tired of being I don't want my children to ever look back and be like, their best stories of their father would always be, my dad was always drinking. So I don't ever want that, because I can look back in my past and I can always say, like, my memories of my father, like, he never drank. Like, I seen him drink a beer or two here and there, but I never seen him drunk. And that's just what I remember from him. I remember all the good times. I remember him being a hard ass and then certain things we went through, but I don't ever remember him being a drinker. And I don't want my kids to remember that from me. I want them to remember, like, hey, my dad he might have been a hard ass, but he loved us, and, he did what he could do to, make sure our life was good. And same way with my wife, though. She does what she can do to make sure the kids get, kind of everything we didn't get. Because I grew up in a poor family. We were eating Spam for dinner. That's what you had to eat some days. But, I wouldn't change it. I grew up, had a good life. So
I like it. What's your favorite way to eat Spam?
Now I hate it. No, I haven't ate it since then. It was just, but I had some guys when we were in Afghanistan. He was a Filipino guy, and they would Spam and rice. He would cook some, so that's not as bad. But growing up, Spam was just, ugh. But it was what was served, and you didn't have a choice. Like, you couldn't say, "I'm gonna eat that today." You either ate it or you didn't eat. So you better stomach it down. So, but I'm not gonna go bite on the owl now and say, "No." I married a Mexican woman for a reason, which I tell her I married you because I love Mexican food, but now I can't eat it as much because, I'm working on losing weight and my A1C was real high. So,
Man, speaking of Mexican food, so the first time I had tamales was about a month and a half ago. I work at Chesapeake, and we have this gym. And there's a janitor. He always comes through and cleans towels, Hispanic guy. And so I started giving him clothes. And then we became friends. And he's like, hey, I want to make you some tamales. And I was like, okay. I mean, I've never had tamale. And so he actually made some and brought it over to the house. And man, those were the best. Homemade. It was amazing.
But you don't like it's a process. It's a like 2-day process. Like if you make a lot, it's a 2-day. We make them here, and then we went to my kid's stepmom's house and watch them make them. So it's a process. Like we made them years ago, and like we made a bunch. And like you cook the pork and you cook the beef all one day, then the next day you start putting in the masa and the fucking stuff. And it's all I was in charge of was cooking the pork outside on my burners, and that was it. But it's how long tamales is what, 2-day process?
Oh, heck yes, it is.
If you make a lot, I got them we bought a big old pot this year, mainly for shrimp boils, but I told them you can make 222 tamales, so y'all need to get to work next year.
Man.
Yeah, but we make enough, 5 or 6 dozen, just kind of for the family and us. So we still have some in the refrigerator.
That's awesome.
You can always freeze them and eat them. So we're in a store. There's my wife.
Hey, how are you?
This is Rosie.
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Tacos and cervezas, huh?
That's my favorite. That's why I'm fat. That, and I like to eat.
I like it.
Oops, which way? There you go. Can you see us on there? It's a bit dark.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the one who's always bugging him.
Don't bug me.
Nice to see you.
I gotta get these kids up. It's almost 12:30.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they do just sleep all day, and then they'll lay up all night. So it's just, I don't know. I always tell my wife like I'm honorary Mexican because I eat more Mexican food than most of my kids. My kids do. So,
yeah.
I eat menudo. Not only menudo, I eat pozole or whatever. My wife cooks. So, but I was, like I said, I was raised that way. Like you were served something, you ate it. You didn't complain about it or anything. And like when we first got married, like she, didn't really cook. Her first husband really didn't. Like he didn't like homemade food. He just rather heat his stuff up in the microwave, stuff like that. And then she started cooking for us. And there's a story she tells that she made fried chicken, and somehow she said it wasn't all the way cooked. I don't know about that, but I ate it anyway. I've never complained about her food ever. She said, it could, it's always good.
Yeah.
It could have been bad, good. I always tell her it's good. I'll never complain about it, but that's just how I was raised, though, because there was always a sign in my mom's house that complaints to the cook could be hazardous for your health, and that's how I lived. I was in the Army. The food wasn't the world's greatest, but you didn't. Yeah. Sometimes you didn't eat because it tastes good. You eat because you needed the nutrition to get through the damn day. So
that's true.
Oh, what am I most proud of? Being married 11 years is the number one. Or will be 11 years on the April 20th. I told my wife, out of all my relationships, you put them all together, and they don't all add up to 11 years. Second would probably be my military career. Like I did a lot in a short amount of time, like real short, like 4 years. I was already getting ready to be a staff sergeant, and that's like the first date that you can actually get promoted to staff sergeant is at 4 years, and I was fast tracking, but then God had other plans, and so this is how I am. So, but like I said, I try to go to school online and learn some stuff. So going to school there in Oklahoma, starting in the summer, taking criminal justice classes. So
nice.
That way I can, if I graduate, I can have it on the wall like I get a degree from University of Oklahoma. Probably never have to do anything with it unless times get really tough. But it's always good to have as a fallback plan just in case. But, Army gives you, or the VA gives you education benefits, use them. because so many years you'll end up losing them, and it's just, even if you don't use them all, just to learn something new every day, have some kind of like routine to get going to school online, and it takes a little bit, but you get used to it, and it gives you something else to do instead of driving yourself crazy, or if you ain't working, or you're like 100% disabled like me and you got to stay home. You ain't be in class with people, you ain't got to be around a bunch of people, you're just on your computer, but you're learning something. Like I took a class the first of this year. It took Old Testament, learned about the Bible.
Nice.
So, just something new to learn. And then, some of the other classes they had, I'd really interested in. So I went back to criminal justice, which I should be. I already got the 2-year degree in that. And I grew up in a family of police officers. My dad was a police officer for 26 years. My mom did it for almost 15. Stepdad did it for almost 15. My brother-in-law was a police officer. Yeah, my great-grandfather was a police officer. So, and then my grandfather, which I never got to meet, he served 20 years in the military. He was World War II, Korea. So,
wow.
I never got a chance to meet him, but he retired as first sergeant. So, and that's who, like, my grandmother, his wife, would always tell me stories, and that's how I got to be like a real big history guy, because she had pictures of like stuff he saw in during World War II. Like he had a picture when they hung Mussolini upside down on the bridge. He had a picture of that because he was in Italy. He had like, my dad gave me the other day, or this was purist back. He has a Nazi Germany 45. And on the side of it, you can see where they have the little Nazi, not the swastika, but like their little eagle thing. You can see it on there. So I have it now. I've never shot it. I've asked him about it. Like, you should shoot it. He's like, well, sometimes on that thing, you got to squeeze real hard and it'll shoot. Sometimes you barely touch it and it shoot. So I don't ever mess with it. It's put away. So something to pass down to my kids when they get older.
Right on, man. That's awesome. How does Jeremy Adams want to be remembered?
Just a guy who didn't quit. No matter what the situation was, like I didn't quit. Same way, like I'm just like that. Like my whole life, like I could have quit a long time ago and just been face down in the ditch somewhere, but I didn't quit. And I tell my wife today, like I'll be running, and the other day it got hot and I was tired and I didn't want to finish, and I typed up the message, hey, call me when you get up, because I was going to have her come pick me up, and I never hit send. And I was like, well, just let me run a little bit farther. And then I ran a little bit farther. Then I got to where closer, and I started running like light poles. I run a set of light poles and I walk. Run a set of light poles and I walk, just to break the monotony of running.
Yeah.
And I finished. So, and I told her I was almost close. Hell, the other day when I ran like this little half marathon, I ran by myself. Like I got to like 10 miles and I'm like, okay, I got to turn around and go back 2 miles. I might as well just go finish the next 3, because I'm not going to call her to come get me. So, but that's a good thing about running. Like it's just running with you. I'm not trying to break any records or win any medals or anything like that. So if I don't feel like stopping and walking, I'll walk for a few minutes and then I'll pick it right back up and keep going. So,
man, I love it. I love your attitude. I'm so glad we're connected, because you're an inspiration, and more importantly, you're impacting my life and our listeners when they listen to this or they watch it. There's no excuse. No more excuses.
Yeah, that's what a first sergeant buddy of mine was saying. I showed him that I'd been running, and he's like, through what all you've gone through, like you still do it. And a lot of guys make excuses, and at the end of the day, an excuse is just an excuse. So,
yeah.
But it might not be running. It might just be somebody get out and doing something different and pushing yourself a little bit, getting out of that comfort zone. And that's one thing I can always take from the military is like they pushed you to get out of that comfort zone. Because like me, I'm scared of heights, but I parachuted out of airplanes. I rappelled out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
But the funnest thing to do, I'd rather parachute than rappel, because rappelling, you're jumping backwards.
Yeah.
Parachute, you're jumping forwards. But once, once you get out of the plane, the only way to go is down. So I'm still trying to think about going skydiving, but I'm not there yet. So, but once you get up there, you got to get out one way. So it's just to get out of the plane. So
Yeah. Well, let's do a virtual pound. I'm going to pound you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
oh, let's see my tattoo. It's got
Yeah, I was
rosy.
going to ask you that. There you go. Nice.
I would tell the kids, it's like they get in trouble, like, let me give you a rosy sandwich.
I don't want none.
Yeah.
All right, last 2 questions for you. The first one is, Jeremy Adams, do you approve this podcast?
Oh, I approve of it. It's a great thing.
Awesome. And then how do we get in touch with you on Twitter or through email?
My email is jadams42009@gmail.com. And then my Twitter, let me look that up because I never know what I have. Okay, my Twitter is @Sooner1Tex or TX, capital T, lowercase x. So I'm the dude that's running with the beard. One of those bearded guys. So
We'll definitely get all
the
that in
other
our
day,
show notes. So we're
yeah,
good.
they were like, well, you might need to shave your beard because I'm like, nope, not shaving it. Like I clean it more than I clean my hair. So I wash my beard every day. So got to take care of it.
Well, thank you for doing that because there's some people with beards at work. I'm like, dude, do you even clean that thing?
I run into some guys like, you clean it. It's like a head of hair. You got to take care of it because it'll start itching and get unruly. It's really unruly, kind of unruly now, but we're kind of stuck. Can't get a haircut. So.
Oh man, yeah, I haven't had a haircut in about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Not bad though.
Yeah. had shaved mine all off, and now it's growing back out. So really, right now, I'm okay without getting a haircut. But the beard, I got to keep it looking nice. So.
Yeah. Do you want us to send you this version and then let you listen to it before we publish it?
No, you can publish it. I ain't gonna listen to it. I'm telling you, I won't even listen to it because I hate hearing myself talk.
Okay.
It's just because you sound so different when you're talking. Like you hear yourself talking now, but then you hear yourself recorded.
Yeah.
And you're like, God dang, I didn't know I talked like that. So, and I apologize to anybody that I dropped that bomb a couple of times. So, but it happens.
I mean, it's real, as authentic and as raw, and that's what I really appreciate about it, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Well, if OU plays this fall, me and a couple buddies will get together and we'll get you up here, you and your son, to enjoy the game. We'll get to meet you, shake your hand, and thank you so much for everything you have done for the country, are currently doing for the country, your family. Dude, just keep being that common denominator of hope, man. That's what we need.
I try. I mean, it's me being me, but like I said, it always goes back to my faith in the Lord. So that's what pushes me to do good things. And because I look at it like my life was saved twice because I was in an IED before. The one that actually got me really hurt, and I walked away from both of them to a certain extent, and I'm still here. So like I said, there's a plan for me out here to do something. So
I appreciate it, man. And you can call me, text me anytime too. So
okay.
We're good.
I appreciate it.
All right, man.
I'm not the
Enjoy your
worst.
Saturday.